Hey guys, it's Kirsten, and this is my race report from the Ironman World Championships in Kona, Hawaii for 2017. So before I get started, I will admit that I did this race in 2014, and I stated very clearly in a video that I would never, ever do this race again. And here I am, 2 days after the race, I did the race again, and I am extremely glad that I did. I had an amazing day, 180-degree difference from 3 years ago. I'm a different person, my life is different, and it was everything I wanted it to be. So I'm very grateful that I ignored my own advice and I came out and I did the race again. So the race this year went down on October 14th, 2017. I was very fortunate in that I had a friend book me a hotel room really close to the race the night before the race, so that I was a lot closer to the race than I thought I was going to be, which made a really big difference the night before the race and the night after the race. So I am really, really grateful that that happened. I was also really grateful that my friend Ashley was with me again, and she made a point to take care of me, make sure I was relaxed, and had everything I needed before the race. So thank you, Ashley. So race morning, I woke up. I didn't sleep very well at all the night before, which is weird because the last couple of years I've actually been sleeping really well before the races, before any of my races. So I woke up at about 1:30 in the morning. I went to bed at about 9:30. Woke up at 1:30 and could not go back to sleep until about 4 o'clock. I went to sleep for a half hour. So I didn't get much sleep, but that's okay. I felt decently rested going into the race. Not as rested as I wanted to, but I never feel like I'm rested going into a race. And since I've done so many races, I was okay with that. I knew that everything would be okay, even feeling not very rested. So I woke up race morning. It was only about a 10-minute walk down to the pier, and the water was very, very calm. And the air was very calm, which was amazing because 3 years ago when I did this race morning was pretty choppy and rough. Waves splashing up on the rocks, and it was really kind of, nerve-wracking, and it got my anxiety going a little bit. So this year, super calm, and that was very refreshing. So I showed up to the race. Everything went really smoothly. Ashley was the one who put my race number tattoo on me, which was really cool. She volunteered to do race numbers on race morning, and I found where she was, and she put my race numbers on me, and I just pretty relaxed. One thing I was a little, not like overly concerned about, but a little concerned about is we're now allowed to wear stuff down to our elbows under our swim skin instead of it used to be shoulders. And my race suit has short sleeves, but I'd never swam with it. But I decided to swim with it under my swim skin instead of rolling it down and rolling it up in transition. So I didn't know if I would chafe, but anyway, that turned out okay. So that was my only big decision I had to make race morning. So I decided to go with sleeves up and put my swim skin over it, and it worked out perfectly. So that was kind of the only thing I was debating about. I drank a couple shakes in the morning. I ate a thing of Pro Meal Bolt block things, and posted a couple things on my phone because the men and women pros start way before us, and then the men age groupers start 15 minutes before. So as soon as the age group men started, I put my phone away and put all my morning clothes away and swam out to the swim start. So by the time I got to the swim start, we had 9 minutes until the race start. So I was just treading water really easily. The salt water makes it really easy to float, and I felt very, very relaxed. So going into the race, I had 3 goals. I had a goal of going under 12 hours. Last time my time was 14:03. So under 12 hours I thought was doable for me, but still wasn't sure if I would make it. So it was a pretty big goal for me to go under 12 hours. My second goal was the top 50% of my age group, and there was 90 girls in my age group, so top 45. And then my third goal was to enjoy myself, to smile, to just take it moment to moment. Whatever happened, and to know that I chose this. This is my life. I came here to feel good, and I already knew what to expect from doing this race 3 years ago. So those were my 3 goals. And before I go on, I did make all 3 goals, and I am ecstatic about my race. So nothing really like major happened, so the race report might be kind of boring, but if you've never done this race before, then hopefully this will help. So the swim was pretty calm. I did the practice swim a week before, and it was really calm too. So I was very uneventful. I knew what to expect. Going out was really smooth. With a girl, there's only like, I think 600 or 800 women, or there was 600 and something. So it's not as crazy as the men, which there's like 1,600 men. So as far as getting knocked around a lot, I didn't have any issues at all. You know, a couple of bumps here and there, but you got to expect that with a lot of people swimming in one spot. So I would say I went out at about 75% intensity on my swim. I wanted to just stay calm, and I never got my heart rate up. I never worked hard. I just wanted to be just a nice, gentle warm up so that when I got out on the bike, I wasn't exhausted, because I was really worried about the bike. So my swim time was 1:03, which is awesome. That's pretty much exactly where I wanted to be. Last time I did this race, it was 1:06, so I was 3 minutes faster right off the bat. The swim was definitely less choppy than last time. And if you're doing this race at some point, you just never know. The swim might be choppy, the swim might be calm. But either way, it's a little harder than swimming in a lake. It's definitely harder than swimming in a pool. And even though you don't have a wetsuit, the salt water is pretty buoyant, so I never really had to kick or anything. So if you haven't swam in an ocean, I highly recommend getting here a little bit early, a week early, and do the practice swim. It's 2.4 miles, the same swim course. That makes a really big difference, to me at least, and I'm a swimmer. So if you're not a swimmer, I would definitely try to get here in time to do the practice swim. So transition, I took nice and easy. I knew I wanted to really rinse off. They have those little hose things that come down. So I rinsed my mouth several times, my eyes, my hair, my face. I put water down the front and back of me. I wanted to get all the salt water off so that I wouldn't chafe. And I did an easy jog through transition. The thing that took me the longest, I decided to wear my compression calf sleeves, and they're really, really, really tight. I love them though, so I really wanted to put them on. So that took a little bit of time. I think my transition was about 5 minutes, which again, I didn't have a goal time for transition. I didn't want it to take too long. So that was actually perfect. And I came out of transition on the bike feeling exactly how I wanted to feel, relaxed and perfect. I didn't start off the bike fast. I think I went out too hard last time because I got caught up in the excitement of just the race and Hawaii and the Ironman and everything. So this time I actually took my time on the bike, and I would say the first 30 miles, I never got my heart rate up. I kept it really mellow, nice and easy, because I knew it was going to get windy. I knew it was going to get hot, and I just didn't want to. If you saw my race report from last time or know anything about my race, the bike ride was awful for me last time. I mean, I cried. I hated it. And after that, I took a year off the bike. That's how uncomfortable I was. And I just didn't want it to be that way this time. I wanted to be smiling. I wanted to feel good. I wanted to be like, you know what? I know this bike course, bring on the wind, bring on the heat, bring on the humidity. I'm just going to take it moment by moment and, enjoy just being out here. And I did. So if you haven't done this race before, the winds can go anyway. Headwind, tailwind, mostly crosswind. It changes every 5 minutes. You douse yourself in water at every aid station, and 1 mile later you're dried off because of the wind. And it's a tough course, but because I think my attitude and I knew what was going on, and before I got here 9 days before the race, and I rode up to Hawi and down, so I remember what that climb is like. And it's actually not bad. It's not a bad climb at all. If you're a climber, it's not a climb. Like, I never shifted into my small gear, but with the wind and the heat and the humidity, it does make it really challenging. So was I challenged? Of course. Was it miserable? Not at all. I got a little uncomfortable on the bike as far as my neck and my shoulders and my crotch and my saddle and everything was definitely, sore, but I was expecting that, so it wasn't that big of a deal. So was I uncomfortable? Of course. Was it hard? Absolutely. But I expected it. Even when the wind started, as soon as I turned around at Javi, which is mile 60, the crosswinds came, and I just thought, you know what, bring it on. This is what I'm here for. I signed up for this. I signed up to get my ass kicked on the bike. I already knew that. I've been doing a bike streak. I'm on like 700 and something of my bike streak. But I hadn't been doing a lot of long rides or spending a lot of time in the saddle, which I think was the reason the saddle was really uncomfortable and my neck was really sore. But again, I had a great ride. It was an hour, pretty much an hour exactly faster than it was 2 years ago. So I finished in, I think my bike time was like 6:22, because last time it was 7:22. So 6:22, 6:23, which is great for me. It was funny though, because I felt like I was going really fast and people just were passing me like crazy, because I'm not the strongest cyclist. And I'm like, but I'm going fast. Why are all these people so fast? But I forget it's the World Championships. Everyone is really fast. So I think in my age group, I can't remember. I think I was third out of the water, maybe, or sixth, third or sixth. I don't remember. It was in the top 10, but after the bike in my age group, I think I was like 58th or 60th or something like that. So a lot of people passed me on the bike, and that used to really get to me. But I started this new thing mentally, that if somebody passes me on the bike, in my mind, instead of me saying, I'm a really slow cyclist, everyone's passing me, I say, wow, they're a really slow swimmer, because I was that far ahead of them. So it's just a mental shift. It's pretty much the same thing, but it makes me feel better. So anyway, so I get off the bike. I was so glad to be off the bike. The last 20 miles were a little rough as far as, I was just really uncomfortable. I really wanted to get off the bike. My knees were getting a little sore, which hasn't been happening lately, but I just pushed harder than I normally do on the bike. So I was just really happy to get started on the run. The other thing I wanted to mention, if you've never done an Ironman, or if you've never done like an Ironman with a really hard bike course, the whole time on the bike I was thinking, I have no idea how I'm going to run a marathon after this. But this was my 14th Ironman, so I know from past experience, I always run a marathon after. I don't know how I do it. I don't know how any of us do it. So if you get discouraged and you're on a bike or a long ride thinking there's no way I can run a marathon after this, you're going to surprise yourself and you're going to be able to run a marathon after that. So just, it's just a shift in thinking. So just know you're going to be able to run a marathon after it, even if it doesn't feel like it when you're on the bike. So second transition, again, pretty uneventful. I kind of jogged through. I was just really happy to be running and not on the bike. So second transition, super, super boring. Everything went fine. Probably about 5 minutes again, maybe a little faster. I got out on the run and I was thinking, wow, I'm really, really tired. I don't know if I'm going to make a marathon. But last time I was here, one thing that really, really got to me was when the sun went down, I couldn't run in the dark. I mean, I could, but my mind played tricks on me, and I thought, I don't want to wipe out. The road's really uneven. I can't see anything. I'm just going to walk. Once you start walking in an Ironman, it's really hard to start running again. Just FYI, if you haven't done an Ironman before, try to keep running as much as you can. So my goal was just to run as much as I could, and I really wanted to get out of the energy lab before the sun set. So that was a big thing. I thought if I ever go back to Hawaii, I really want to get out of the energy lab before the sun sets. I think that would make a really big difference in my race, and it did. So I ran through all the aid stations for the first, I think, 14 miles. I was running a pretty slow pace, like a 10-minute mile, maybe a little less than that. Trying to just stay consistent and just taking little steps and keeping cool, always putting ice down the front and the back of my race suit, always pouring water over my head. I mean, I was soaked head to toe from the first aid station on the bike till the finish. I even got blisters on my feet from being wet so much, but it was worth it because at this race you have to keep yourself cool or the heat and the humidity is really going to get to you. So the energy lab starts about mile 16. So I wanted to walk so many times and I just kept saying, you can walk after you get out of the energy lab. So I get into the energy lab and I don't race with a watch or a bike computer or anything. So I had no idea what time it was other than where the sun was. And when I got into the energy lab, I thought I had about an hour before the sunset, and the energy lab is about 4 miles. So our special needs bags were about halfway through the energy lab, and I had a flashlight in there because I planned ahead for running in the dark. So I was just like, just get to your special needs bag, which was about mile 17 and a half, I think. I got my flashlight and I kept running. I'm like, just run out of this energy lab before the sun sets. So I left the energy lab about mile 19 and a half. The sun was still up. It was getting pretty close to setting, but I thought, get to mile 21 before the sun sets. That should be around 6:30, and my goal was 12 hours, which would have me finishing at 7:20, and that would give me 5 miles in 50 minutes, which I knew I could do. I was feeling pretty good. I was just overall tired. Nothing was going wrong. I mean, everything felt great. I was just getting really tired. So I made it to mile 21. The sun set. It was pitch black. I turned on my flashlight and I kept running. And I ran all the way in. When I saw mile 25, I picked it up. Well, I thought I picked it up. When I look at my splits, I didn't really pick it up that much. And the whole time I was racing, so I get a lot of I have a lot of amazing friends and family who support me all the time. I think they think I'm a lot better than I am, because a lot of them are like, oh, you're gonna podium, you're gonna win, whatever. I know myself and I know my limits and I know what I can do. So I knew that wasn't my goal. I knew my goal was 12 hours. I knew my goal was top half. And so sometimes when I was racing, I was like, oh, I hope I'm not disappointing people. But I just had to get that out of my mind, because you can't do any of this for anyone but yourself. You can't compare yourself to anyone else. When all these girls were passing me on the bike, it's so tempting to think, oh my gosh, I suck as a cyclist. Like, everyone's passing me. I'm whatever, all these negative things. And instead I was like, you know what, this is your own race. You're doing this for you. You know your goals, you know your body, you know your limits. Just run your own race. And that's exactly what I did for the entire race. And I finished strong. I love running down a Leahy Drive with everyone cheering and the lights and the music. And I mean, it's just so much energy. It's so amazing that for a second, I thought maybe I wanted to try to come back again. At this time, I do not. But you get caught up in the energy, caught up in the moment. So I finished the race. I forgot to look at the time, so I had no idea what time I got. I felt great. The last few Ironmans I've done, I've gotten really sick for a couple days after, as far as like stomach issues. One thing I did differently this race, instead of drinking a ton of Gatorade, which I normally do on the run, I ate bananas, oranges, and pretzels. That's it. I didn't take any Gatorade. I couldn't. My stomach couldn't handle Gatorade. And so after the race, I felt really good. My stomach didn't hurt at all. I got walked to get my medal and pick up my bags and pick up my bike, and the whole time I felt really, really good. And after I got my medal, I ran into a girl I knew, and she was wearing a couple watches, and it reminded me to ask her what time it was. I was like, oh yeah, what time it is? And I'd finished a few minutes before. And she looked at her watch and she goes, oh, it's 7:18. And I just like blew up I was just ecstatic. I was so excited, because if it was 7:18 and I'd already been finished for a few minutes, that means that I'd finished under 12 hours, because 7:20 is when we started. So 7:20 p.m. was 12 hours. So it ended up my run was 4:18, which is right under a 10-minute pace. Super ecstatic with that. That was like an hour and 15 minutes faster than last time I did this race. So I ended up finishing in 11 hours and 52 minutes, which is 2 hours and 11 minutes faster than I did this in 2014. I ended up 40th place out of 90 girls, so my top half. I felt great the entire day. If you've done an Ironman or a marathon or anything long, I did not feel great the entire day. It was hard. I didn't feel good, but I was happy. I was full of joy. I was full of gratitude and living in the moment. And this is where I want to be. I chose to be here. This is where I am. This is my life. This is who I am. And this is perfect. So that's how I finished, and that's how I felt all day. And so that's it. So kind of a boring race, as far as like nothing big happened, but it all went as planned. It all went perfectly for me and for what I wanted out of this race. So that's it. Will I come back here? I don't know. Am I going to take some time off Ironman? Absolutely. I'm going to do a lot of 70.3s and half Ironmans next year. I want to be faster. I like to get faster, and I want to do some shorter distances and kind of get my life back. a little bit. I've kind of slacked on life other than Ironman training. For those of you who know me well, you know exactly what my life has been like, and it's been a little crazy. But for right now, I am here for another week enjoying Hawaii and so proud of myself. And it's just so different because last time I was here, I was so disappointed in myself. I thought I was a failure. I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought I wasn't worthy. And this year is just totally different. I feel like I'm so worthy. I deserve to be here. I am enough. This is who I am. This is my life. And I am beyond grateful for all of it. So 3 years, a lot has changed. If you're struggling at all in your life, just give it some time, work on loving yourself more, and check yourself in 3 years and see how far you've come. So if you have any questions at all about this race, now that I've done it twice, I'm not an expert by any means, but I'd be happy to help you out in any way I can. Or if you have questions about any other racing or training or nutrition or anything that you're struggling with, loving yourself, all that crap, reach out. I love to hang out and get to know you. And I just want to finish by saying I have received incredible support this year. My life, I've been in a lot of transitions. I've had a lot of big life changes. The people who love me still love me no matter what. I felt so much unconditional love this year, and I am forever grateful for all of you who have reached out and told me how much you support me, how much I've inspired you. You inspire me every single day, and you make me want to be a better me. And that's pretty freaking awesome. So thank you guys. I love you so much, and I hope to talk to you soon. All right.